everyone, this is Kasturi,
I am Mriganka.
and welcome to our podcast, Bookmarked, where we talk anything and everything about books and only books.
So, guys, for our second episode, we have brought you something which is really, really interesting. We are going to talk about three books each that is going to take you out of your reading slumps. So, what we are going to do is we will start at three and we will gradually move towards one being the best book on this particular list for both of us. So, Kasturi, I will let you take this forward. Let's start with number three, your number three, rather.
According to me, when you're in a reading slump, so the best genre that it really depends, that you should go for really depends on your mood. And some people swear by thrillers, some people go for fantasy, some people go for mystery, sci-fi, historical fiction, while others prefer romance, people like me. So personally, I always reach for contemporary romance or a good rom-com because I think they are easy to get into and they always, always, always remind me why I fell in love with reading. So the third book on my list is a book by Emily Henry. It's called Happy Place. So it's basically imagine friends the series if all of them went to a last beach vacation, but Monica and Chandler had secretly split up and no one knew. So this book follows a group of friends and it's about a second chance romance where the couple that follows in this book is basically they have this perfect relationship until they secretly broke up months ago, thinking that they are not gonna work out. And their closest friend, they are not aware of it. So this trip is especially significant for them is because the place that the cottage is based, it is their happy place. It is called the happy place. And they don't want to spoil the vacation. The couple they don't want to spoil the vacation, so they pretend to be in a relationship. And the story that follows is it navigates to love, friendship, growing into adulthood, and learning that even the strongest relationship needs honesty. And the most important thing that I believe is communication. So yeah, this is the third in my list. Happy Place.
Wow, the story seems so interesting that even I want to read it. I will not read it because it's romantic and I do not really enjoy
But
reading it.
I will make you read it. I promise
I,
I'll make
I,
you read it.
let's hope so. So my third book that can get you out of your reading slump is Build It, and it's by Albinder Dhinsa, and it's the story of Blinkit. So people outside India, if you're watching us, hopefully, then this is the book about this particular company called Blinkit, which is a last mile delivery app, and how it changed the way that India thinks about last mile delivery. It starts off as an entrepreneurial venture but later becomes a nationwide phenomenon, and that is why I just love reading this book. uh, the best part about this book, it is very simple to follow. It probably every chapter is about an inciting incident, then it gives you what they did to come up, or rather, you know as a solution to that incident, and then they give you their learnings from it. And it's wonderful if you want to go through a book which gives you an understanding of how business works and what you can do and what it means to building something from ground up. I recommend this book thoroughly. So that was my number three. Kasturi, let's go to the number two position near the top. So let me know your next book.
Yes. Okay. Before we go to the next book, I just want to point out here that the book that you mentioned about Blinkit, I think um, people should definitely pick it up because Blinkit, the name suggests it, it helps so many household, people or people in corporate world to bring something so easily to your doorstep. And I think um, the story that involves, for someone in India building something from the scratch without any, oh, I don't know what's the right word should be, but any um, background or any example to it previously, I believe. So I think definitely, we should pick it up. Okay, so
Since
now
you mentioned it, I will just like to insert one small thing which I think everyone should learn. It talks about something called the pigeon poop problem, and what it says
don't
is
talk about pigeon poop problem. I am
so
facing it on a daily basis. I hate it. I hate pigeons.
So the pigeon poop problem is very simple. What it generally states is, without telling you much about the story, that some problems are not meant to be solved. They are other problems which will eventually get solved automatically when your process improves. So it's a wonderful read, trust me. So Kasturi,
Yeah.
sorry, took your time. Over to you for your number two.
Okay, so the next book that I have on mind is something uh, along the line of it's like Zootopia, but instead of predators and prey learning to get along, it's vampires and werewolves. And there's a lot of spicy things going on there, but I'll not get
Is it
to it.
Twilight?
No, no. A very different from Twilight, in a fun way. It's very funny. So this is a book called Bride, by Ailey Hazelwood. She, the books that she writes are very easy to read. So this is one of the easy to read fantasy with modern romance in it, and so it's basically the story follows this vampire. Her name is Misery Lark, who has agreed to a marriage inconvenience with this alpha werewolf, where they enter this marriage inconvenience and to form an alliance between their species. And what starts as a deal to keep the peace between werewolves and vampires and even humans because they coexist together, they develop this trust. Misery finds her family there. It's a found family, an unexpected love, but there's also a mystery that centers the story that will keep you on your toes to know, what is the story behind, or why is she doing it, or why they are doing it. So, and what the secret that they're keeping in the heart of it. So yeah, that's the book, and I think you should definitely pick it up. And I think it will really, really, really get you out of your reading queue to pick up another book, maybe by Ellie Hazelwood or maybe by another writer as well. Over to you.
So the number two book that I am going to talk about is something that you might have heard of, and I recently read it, but it's one of the most wonderful books. So this is the book that I'm talking about. It's Open by Andre Agassi. It's an autobiography, also a gift
Yeah.
from you. So it's wonderful. I think if you have to write an autobiography, I feel it should be like this because it's very raw. You have to understand that Andre Agassi is probably one of the greatest tennis players of all time, right?
Yeah.
He is
Agreed.
right there with probably your Borg, your Lavers, your Federers, and everyone. And it's so wonderful because he writes it in such a nice way. He does not hold back. He talks about failed marriages. He talks about doing drugs. He talks about losing hair and what else and whatnot. And the best part is that this person did not even like tennis to begin with, but the way he just keeps going through whenever there is a problem, he just makes it through and he wins it in the end. And it's so wonderful. One of the books that has the best ending, because I feel that, see, autobiographies cannot really end because the person is still there and their
Yeah.
life moves on. But it's so good because it'll make you want to read the book because of the story that is written in the book. It's so beautiful, and it's very unfiltered. He'll tell you everything. And if you are in a reading slump, I feel that this is something that will blow your mind off.
I
Because and
believe it is not just your typical uh,
autobiography
uh,
autobiography
autobiography biography,
Yeah.
because I think it not just only talk about their achievements, but he also very expresses his struggles uh, very in a very raw form, and that is something I don't know how many of people can do it. For someone a very good player and a very popular player as Andrea Gassi, but I believe that you should have a lot of courage to bring that out of yourself and just going for it and letting people know that deep dark uh you know secrets that has eaten you throughout the year. So yeah, I think everyone should. And for someone who is a tennis lover, I think this book will actually give you also a lot of insights on tennis as well and how the
Agreed.
association works.
Agreed. And the best part is you do not even have to know anything about tennis if you want to read this book. This is just about a very successful person and his life story and his
Mm.
struggles and tribulations. Great read. So, Kasturi, the pole position, the number one book
Drum
from you.
roll.
Over to you. Over to you.
Okay, so the first book, the top of my list, is a book from the romantasy genre. The book is a series called The Legends of Thesmar. So imagine um, there is a prophecy made where it was said that a daughter of darkness will come along and destroy the world. And imagine, because of the damn prophecy, every woman in the realm was asked to give up their swords. So this story follows Thea, who is fiercely ambitious to become a war sword, one of the elite protector of the realm, and she wants to be one. But in so many years, there has not even a single woman that has emerged because of the damn prophecy. And now she is trying to prove herself that she can be who she wants to be. And now here comes the pickle in the story, that her life is limited. Her death was already predicted, and she only has 2 years to prove herself. So in these 2 years, she has to overcome every um, uh, political situation in the realm. She also has to fight the demons inside her, the demons outside the realm, and she has to prove herself and become a war sword, along with fighting a war that is an upcoming war. So yeah, I think it is a very easy to read book. The world building is amazing, the story, the character arc is amazing, and you can actually find yourself hooked up in the series, because I devoured 4 books in the series in almost a week. And the best week I might call, and the author Helen, she is amazing, amazing. And yeah, pick it up and let me know how
How,
how how it goes for you.
how is it different from the Akatar series or probably a Lord of the Rings? How is it different?
So in Akatar, when you are reading a romantasy or a fantasy book, you expect a world building. Sometimes it is either well explained, sometimes it is not well explained, or else for someone who is reading, just trying to read it for the first time, the explanation should be very smooth, so that in your head you imagine, okay, this is what it is. This book, this gives you, they don't have any complicated magic system, they don't have any complicated uh, 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 I would say cities in the realms that will get you confused. Just this beautifully written story about a woman trying to prove herself that she is the best, like anyone else in the realm, and just let me go for it.
I think that's wonderful and probably something that I would be interested in
I
reading.
will make you
So,
read it.
so the first book, my first pick that I'm going to talk about is a book which is very special, very close to my heart. A, because our podcast is on books, and this particular book actually takes place in the New York State Library. That is, the entire incident takes place there. And secondly, because this is the first book that I picked up, which is by my favorite writer Matthew Riley, and this particular book is called Contest. Again, a brilliant read, and not saying because he's my favorite writer. I'll give you a brief about
You're
the story
allowed to be
and let
biased. Don't worry. You're allowed to be biased.
I'll give you a brief about the story and then probably you can decide. So it's a radiologist. His name is Stephen Swain, and there's his daughter. They are stranded in this particular library, which is the New York State Library. And suddenly the lights go off and they find that they are alone. There are no one inside apart from people who are just working. And suddenly they see that they are getting murdered one by one. And at the start of the book, probably 10 minutes into the read, you realize that it is like a war of the worlds situation where there are 7 champions from 7 different worlds who have come to the New York State Library. And these are aliens, I'm talking about warriors who will fight to the death, and only one person will walk out of it alive. By the way, our protagonist, Stephen Swain, is a radiologist. So, probably not even your standard superhero or even a hero, but this book is written so well. And
Okay, let me get this straight. So you are telling me that you read a book that has library in it, It is based in New York, and it has games and trials.
Yes, yes. And the book is beautiful because it is more like a father daughter relationship also, which is explored in the book. But the way it's written, it's fast paced, there's action. I would not say it's a world building kind of a thing, but because it is just one book, but the way that those particular incidents are described is wonderful. You look at this, the size of this book. It's just one night, by the way. It's just one night
Oh,
in a library, and it's so wonderfully written. I fell in love with his writing when I read this particular book. Now imagine this, like a
I
radiologist,
am. I mean,
some
everything
someone
in
who
one
has
book.
nothing to do with weapons is the person who fights to death with aliens who are warriors, best of the best warriors in their particular planets. Wonderful read. If you want to get out of a reading slump, probably start off with this, and it's going to make you fall in love with Matthew Riley. I'm sure of it.
I was just wondering that, can you imagine an author? He actually included not only a city, uh, a radiologist, but he also included aliens and games and trials into it. I mean, I just wonder that how these authors just like what kind of imagination might they be having while writing these kind of books. I am so fascinated by this world. I You mentioned not a world building, but I would say that even the books that I've mentioned with all the world building with the Legends of Tesmar, you think about it and you're like, okay, this is something that might have taken the author so many time, so many hours or months or years to build this thing, and now we are appreciating it. So yeah, I just feel happy that something like this exists and we get to read about it.
I think it lets your heart be full and
Yeah,
feels so
yeah.
wonderful. So these were our top 3 picks if you want to get out of a reading slump. All in all, 6 great books. If you want to check them out, we have linked them in the description below. As always, this is the Bookmark Podcast. My name is Mriganka,
I'm Kasturi.
and we talk everything about books.